dabar sekantį pranešimą panašia tema norėčiau pakviesti Jo Ekscelenciją Izraelio ambasadorių Lietuvoje, AMIR MAIMON. Kaip Izraelis tapo technologijas kuriančia ir plėtojančia valstybė. Your Excellency, please join us.
Good morning, Boker Tov, as we say in our language. My lecture was supposed to be over by that time. It always reminds me the story of a musician that started the show in an half-an-hour delay. But before he started the show, he promised the audience that despite the delay, the show will end on time. So this is today, it happens to be not just the day of happiness, it's also a Jewish holiday by the name Purim. And Purim is all about happiness and joy. And this is an opportunity for me also to wish all of you a very, very happy day. When I was thinking about today's lecture and the answer to be given to some of the questions, so honestly speaking, I was very happy to hear the previous speakers as they were talking a lot about Israel. And I was wondering maybe it would be better for me not to talk, so not to ruin the very good impression as it was presented by the other speakers. But talking about Israel and talking about the reason for our success led me to 71 years back to the time of the establishment of the State of Israel. Israel was established out of the ashes of the Holocaust. The liberation of Auschwitz took place in 1945, and in the international community there was this feeling that it's about time that we should find a solution to the Jewish problem. And 3 years after the liberation of Auschwitz, 3 years after the end of Second World War, the Jewish state was born in 1948. And right from the beginning, we understand one thing, and this is the first principle. We realize that we simply do not have any other option if we wish to survive. We face so many challenges, security challenges. We were promised that, the land of Israel is the land of milk and honey. And when the immigrants, Jewish immigrants, arrived to Israel, they found out that neira mados, neira piano. There is no milk, there is no honey in the state of Israel. And right from day number one, we had to face with security challenges as the not very friendly neighbors decided that they simply wished to get rid of the newly born country. And during the War of Independence, we learned the second principle. It's not what you have, it's what you do with what you have. And if it would have been only for the numbers, I would probably not standing here as the official representative of the State of Israel. It's not what you have, it's what you do with what you have. And as our late Prime Minister, President, Prime Minister, Minister, one of our founders said, we also understand that there is no room for small dreams. We need to think in big. Because not like the surrounding countries where, they were fortunate with so many natural resources, in Israel, neira. Only saule, only sun. So we learn how to turn our disadvantages to an advantages. So we use the soul, we use the saule, we use the power of the sun to create energy. Even today, when you'll travel to Israel, and hopefully you will do so, in every rooftop you will see a small container and some sun panels. And in every house in Israel, the heating of the hot water are solar. Every house. And in Lithuania you have so many lakes. You're fortunate. Thousands of lakes. Guess how many we have in Israel? Some people may say 1, others 2, and I will tell you, you are both right. because we have indeed 2 lakes, but one of them is dead. And we had to find a way to use the water in this very far northern part, the lake, the Sea of Galilee, which I believe you're all familiar with because of the biblical connection. And we found a way to transfer the water from the northern part of the state of Israel to nearly every part in the country. It's all about water management. But it was not enough, because in the first years, Israel was all about agriculture. And we had to find a way to continue cultivating our soil. What I didn't tell you is that half of the state of Israel, which is 1/3 of Lithuania territory, is arid zone, desert. But once again, we were able to turn this desert into a very nice garden. And Israeli agricultures are growing in the winter, the Israeli winter, vegetables and fruits which are exported to Europe during the winter time, during a time that you cannot find any vegetables but the ones that arrive from these few countries that grow vegetables and fruit during winter time. So we understand that it's all about innovation, because without innovation we cannot get to anywhere. As you can see, we are surrounded with so many countries, with so many natural resources, and we are an island of innovation. We invested in innovation. And going back to agriculture, lack of water, so we developed the irrigation system. Not because, it was one day an Israeli scientist thought about this innovation, but because we faced the problem on the ground. It was simply impossible to use so many water, because we simply don't have. It's one big lake. I don't know that you will find another country, European country, that the news opened with the announcement about the number of centimeters that were added to the Sea of Galilee. But that's the reality in Israel. That's what we talk about. So we invented the irrigation system. Irrigation system, which is a very simple innovation. It's all about a pipe with some holes, which is connected to a high pressure water system. And the whole idea is that these drops will be aligned next to plants. And the plants will get the exact amount of water that it's required. Now these water systems are sold all over the world. Talking about innovation, just a few weeks ago, an Israeli company by the name Mellanox Technologies were purchased by NVIDIA for $6.8 billion. And I'm sure that you all saw the first robotic spacecraft that was launched from Israel and about to land on the moon in very few days. And of course, just a year ago, you probably heard about the purchase of Mobileye, a company by Intel, for $15 billion.
A small country that has become a powerhouse of science, technology, and innovation. Country of shortcuts, efficiency, and sophistication. From Rambam to Einstein via myriad medical marvels. A land flowing with milk and honey, but also with science and research. Where things are not done by the book and where operating instructions are merely a recommendation. The land of the Bible, yet with nanotechnology and an amazing iron dome to cover your head. With Venus above showing farmers below where to plow. A land of give and take protecting computers and networks. Of remembrance and never forgetting, where water is desalinated and drip irrigation nourishes our fields. Where there's no need for boxes because everyone thinks outside of them. Where people believe in doing it another way. Reinventing ourselves for the past 70 years. 70 years of great ideas, expansion to new horizons. 70 sparkling years igniting technological progress and nurturing brilliant new concepts that change our world. Israel, a land of pursuit of the unknown, of prominent scientific and technological brains who have shined on the international scene for years. 70 years, and it's only the beginning.
Going back to the human factor, as I have 10 more minutes. I started at 10:01. As the human factor is very important because, as I said in the beginning, we were faced with no other option but to survive, despite all challenges. And there is one thing that helps us to better understand how to do it, and it is the military service, the compulsory military service. I don't know how many of you read the book about Startup Nation. Saul Singer wrote a very nice book which was translated to Lithuanian too. And in his book, Saul Singer is made the relation, the linkage between the military service and the success in business. Because as I just discussed with a very good Lithuanian friend a few days ago, the military service is not just about security and defense. The military service is about values. It's about responsibilities. It's about discipline. It's about teamwork. It's about overcoming challenges. You know, when we are facing challenges, like we did in 1948, we had three options. The first one is simply to raise our hands, but not as an exercise, and said, well, we cannot handle it. We are surrendering. It's too big for us. The second option is simply to bypass the problem. But the third option, and that's the only option that we know, is to overcome the problem. That's the only way to make sure that you are the one to shape your future and live your present. And when we are talking about Israel, we of course cannot ignore the fact that it also has a lot to do with leadership. Leadership of the government, the investment in R&D, and proportionally and absolutely, Israel is the leading country in the world in accordance to OECD when it comes to investment per capita in research and development. Today you will find so many companies, international companies with research and development center in Israel, all the big names, and you can see them behind in the screen. The principles of our policies are very simple. The first one is neutrality. The second one is risk-taking. The third is matching. But the most important thing is the philosophy. It's enabling the market, not leading it. That's to say that the government, if startups come up with crazy idea about something that is out of the scope, out of the thinking of the government, they do let it happen, because this is a very important one. And of course, we have different programs, unique incentives program. This is just one example. When it comes to leadership, and it's also very important not just to talk about the government, it's also very important to talk about the local municipalities. I just came back from Israel. I attended the ambassador conference, and we were taken to Beersheba. Beersheba is the capital of the southern part of Israel, and in Beersheba there is a university, and I see here in the audience some former rector. So the Ben-Gurion University launched a very specific program in cooperation with the business community and the municipality of Beersheba. And since the launching of this program, many startups moved their headquarters, bases from Tel Aviv to Beersheba, and Beersheba is prospering and prospering. The same thing happens also in Haifa. We saw a photo before in the short clip of Professor Danny Shechtman, a Nobel laureate in chemistry, a well-known professor from the Technion. He launched a very interesting program in cooperation with the municipality of Haifa. And it's all about science, and it's all about education. Education that does not start in the universities, education that starts in kindergartens. And when he was talking about it, some local Lithuanians were very interested in the program, and I'm very happy that some 18 scientific laboratories were already implemented or already working here in Lithuania. Because science is not something that you learn only in the university. You need to educate children to think like this when they are little, when we can shape the way that they think. We have also, as I said, unique incentive programs. The government is going to invest a lot in the digital health. And as I mentioned before, there is a very important role of the government. Last but not least, I would like to repeat, remember, the understanding that we don't have any other option. The understanding that we need to overcome our challenges, not to bypass them. And of course, the government and the local municipalities' leadership. These are the main factors that, in my eyes, brought Israel to where we are today. But on top of everything, it's all about the human resources. We may not have natural resources, even though today it's not completely true, because we found some natural gas reservoirs in our exclusive economic zone, and we're very happy about it. But for many, many years, the only real resource that we had, and we still have, is the human resource. And we are investing in our human resource. Thank you.